I do my it's actually, so it was originally Hard Knocks when I first joined, but now we've changed to Sanford MMA. We're now under a new title on the Sanford MMA. But yeah, my majority of my camp is there because I come from Adelaide, and in terms of the ability to be able to compete with the guys that I'm competing against. No offense, I'm not going to find it in Adelaide, and it's very hard to even find it in Australia in general. Like, I think to myself, I'd rather reach out to me, which I think is the best gym in the world in Sanford MMA, and I'm lucky enough to be a part of the team. So I take as much time as I can for a camp there. Personally, I would like to have lived there. I was planning on moving there in April, but obviously when this whole situation came about, I had to move home, and it's very hard to make any sorts of moves internationally. So, I do majority of my camp at Stanford MMA. I believe they're going to get the best out of me.
And when you say, I mean, obviously Adelaide is a little different because, it is the city of churches, as they like to proclaim themselves. It's, for people from people that aren't from Australia, like obviously it is a little bit of a quieter city. I mean, it's not a country town, but when it comes to the major cities, it's one of the smaller ones, right?
It's close.
So I can totally understand you saying you're not getting that. But obviously on a national side, what is it that is so different over there? Is it the coaching, or is it the lack of sparring partners for you?
When I say that, I don't want people to think that I think that all of Australia doesn't have like this. Like we've got Robbie Whittaker, like we've got a world champion. To me, one of the best guys.
We also got Alex
coming out of our country. Yeah, exactly. Sorry. I'm not as well versed as you, I guess, in terms of this stuff. But yeah, we've got Alex. So clearly we have the ability to create world champions. There is a clear ability to do so. There's clearly camps that can do so. But for me, it was like, I see this life as not only a job and a business, but I see it as a journey. And I'm like, look, personally, like, I think it makes a cooler story to go to Florida to train for me. And then it works out that, like I said, I really believe that in terms of a gym, like, yeah, Robbie's team's probably really good, but you're talking, we got 40 guys on the mats at once who are like 70% of that 40 guys are signed to the highest promotions in the world, Bellator, UFC, and one championship, let alone some guys who are from Glory and whatnot. So for me, it's about the journey, which I'd rather spend my time in Florida because I think it's an amazing spot in the world. And two, I really believe that the team is the best team in the world. So I chose to take my journey there. But I know for a fact, like you said, Alex and guys like Robbie, and I'm sure there's probably a lot more names out there that I've, like Mark Hunt. There's a lot of good teams out there. But I just chose to take my journey to Florida.
No, without a doubt. I mean, and also New Zealand's got city kickboxing now with Izzy and, all of that. But look, I totally agree with you. And I've always said that the one thing I noticed that's different between Australia and say the States is, for me, it wasn't the coaching methods. I mean, a little bit the coaching methods, because I say like our wrestling isn't up to par when it comes like jiu-jitsu. I think we're up to par. Striking, I think we got some of the better strikers or the better striking coaches. Our wrestling lacks a little bit. But I always said it's having the training partners, right? And what it is there is like, you'll have, say, like someone trained, they'll fight, then they're going to sit out for a little while because they've just had a fight, and then the rest of the team are going like, oh, but we need you on the mats because we need sparring partners. Where you go to some of these mega gyms, as you say, you got 40 people on the mats and they're all killers, right? They're all killers. So look, I understand where you're coming from there. I just wanted to get your perspective on it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with what you said. It's a really good point, I guess, that I can add to it is, like you said, like, you're going to have maybe your two best guys fight on the same show, and then if you're fighting 3 weeks after, you're like, oh, you know what I mean? You got to understand, like, man, like sometimes they're like, I've got to take some time off, I broke my foot. And it is, I didn't even think of it in that term, but that's a great point. And that's what makes our team so strong, is you constantly got guys fighting. So there's just always a constant rotation of people that are on the mats who are hungry. Where, like you said, if you got 5 guys, that's your team, 2 of them fight, now you're missing your two, perhaps favourite training partners. It will make a difference in your performance, I believe. So that's a good point.